The chairman of the Senate Agriculture Committee, Senator John Boozman, will be joining us now. Senator Boozman started his first term as chair a year ago in January, and I would say he's had a rather eventful year or so. We're talking about passing another farm bill, but let's be real. We passed the guts of the farm bill last July in the form of the One Big Beautiful Bill. So with that, I'm going to allow Senator Boozman to come up. He's going to make a few remarks, and then I'm hoping he will join me for a few questions that we have. Thank you, Senator Boozman.
It's great to be with you all. Amy told me that she had told on me with the coat. I'm from Arkansas. I learned that it snows in May in Minnesota. So let me I want to read something because I don't want to leave out anything. You all are important, and I want to say the things that I mean to say rather than getting up here and mumbling around for 5 or 6 minutes, but I do appreciate all that you do. I really feel like you're unique to the news media in the sense that most of us now, because of the internet, the way we get our attention spans now, because of social media and all of these other things, we read headlines. And you're one of the few groups that people actually read your stuff from start to finish, because you represent and help represent to us what we're doing, things that are so important to so many people's livelihoods. So give yourselves a pat on the back. That really is a big deal. So thank you again for the invitation to speak, and thank those of you watching remotely for this engagement. I know you had a busy day full of many great speakers throughout the agriculture industry, and I'm grateful you're here to join this conversation. I'm following Amy Klobuchar. She's a great partner. She and I have done a lot of important things together, and besides being ranking and chairman, whatever, she's actually a good friend who does a really good job. Before I begin my formal remarks, I would like to thank Sarah White for her long-standing leadership as an ag journalist. I value the reporting I read each day in Agri-Pulse. This reporting is strongly shaped by the work of another individual I'd like to recognize, Phil Brasher. Phil has been a constant in ever-changing Washington. His reporting has always been fair and insightful. He still walks the halls of Congress and frequently grabs me as I make my way to votes or committee hearings. He's not bashful. Phil will be retiring soon, and I would like to thank him so much for his contribution to ag journalism. Learning the theme of this summit, mapping the future of market expansion for U.S. agriculture, I was encouraged that we are aligned in recognizing the importance of this issue. I think it's the number one issue, and the need to bring people in the industry together to have a dialogue. As you're aware, earlier this month, the Senate Ag Committee held its first hearing on the need to boost domestic demand of American-grown products. We need a long-term strategy, and it's my intent to continue exploring through this hearing that we had and others in the future about just that. It's clear to me, and I expect to you as well, that what we've been done in the past isn't working now. The world's changed. We need a different approach. We all agree that agriculture industry is under significant financial pressure. If you're growing something in the ground, you're losing money. Commodity prices are low, and input costs continue to be high, higher than ever. Right now, there are too many producers looking at their books and seeing that the numbers aren't adding up to their favor, and ultimately deciding to leave farming. The clock is ticking. It just doesn't pencil out. We must take action to ensure farmers continue producing the safest, most affordable, abundant food supply of food in the world. And again, that's not just for me. Marco Rubio, while he was in the Senate, was a good friend. He always used to tell me, always tell him food security is national security. That was from the chair of the Intelligence Committee. That begins by thinking outside the box about how we can support our farmers, ranchers, and producers, not only by addressing urgent and immediate needs, but also by strengthening the industry for future generations, ensuring it remains viable, rewarding, and a profitable career. E15 is a good example of value-adding products and opening up new markets to increase the demand for corn. I'm hopeful that Congress will find a path forward that works for producers as well as the small and mid-sized refineries to get this across the finish line soon. Similarly, the Buying American Cotton Act would boost demand for cotton by encouraging retail investment in U.S.-grown cotton, and several other bills along that nature. The good news is there is bipartisan, bicameral support for these types of proposals. We have a reliable market here, and we must expand that. We can no longer depend on trading partners who are not dependable. In true spirit of the United States, we've shared our innovation and helped advance agriculture around the world. While our research has improved efficiency beyond our borders, it's also created new competition that puts our own farmers at a disadvantage. Domestic market development has to be part of the conversation to strengthen agriculture. This means discussions on policies both within and outside of the Ag Committee's jurisdiction. While we examine long-term solutions, we need something more immediate. We can be proud of the historic investments we delivered to rural America this last year. The Working Families Tax Cut modernizes the farm safety net, enhances risk management tools, and expands access to more affordable crop insurance. This is a win-win for farm families in rural America. But to help get our producers to October to realize these benefits, they need urgent assistance. I've worked with Senator Hoeven and Chair Thompson, Secretary Rollins, and many others to produce a proposal that built on the Farm Bridge Assistance Program announced by the White House last year. As challenges continue to mount, farm groups are calling for help. The American Farm Bureau Federation and more than 50 other agriculture groups sent a letter to President Trump last week outlining the need. It's critical that agriculture groups encourage their members to advocate with their senators and representatives about this important issue. The reason why there was success at the end of 2024 to include assistance for farmers in the funding package was the unified voice of ag producers and ag lenders nationwide who came to the nation's capital and explained to their members of Congress about the dire circumstances in farm country. Agriculture, when it sticks together, is an amazing force. Advocacy groups must continue to be vocal about the challenges facing rural America and share why the assistance is so necessary. Because of the urgency, the Iran supplemental would be an ideal vehicle to advance these essential resources. I've been committed to renewing the 2018 Farm Bill since it was enacted. As the ranking member and the chairman, I pursued opportunities at every turn to update this cornerstone law. As everyone in this room knows, I also am committed to our producers, and I emphasized what producers around the country shared with me, that we needed, quote, more farm in the Farm Bill. The good news is that we accomplished much of that in the Working Families Tax Cut bill last summer, as I mentioned earlier. I applaud the work of House Chair G.T. Thompson and his staff in reporting out a bipartisan bill. That was no easy task and truly an amazing accomplishment. The Senate should tie up the loose ends of the Farm Bill on our end, and that is my intent. The Senate needs a significant bipartisan consensus to be successful. We all have particular policies that we would like to see enacted. My framework contains the text of more than 100 bipartisan bills. There's a path forward if each side is willing to take it. Tomorrow's National Ag Day, and I want every hardworking farm family to know this: we hear you and we are fighting for you. Congress rarely works quickly. I understand how frustrating that it is, especially as planting season is upon us. Please don't mistake this delay as inaction. I'm committed to delivering the certainty and support producers need, because when farmers succeed, so does America. This is all about our farm community, but the farm community is rural America. Agriculture is about 25% of the GDP in Arkansas. That's what it is in many of our states. It's usually number one, number two. But if you get outside of any town of any size, agriculture is not 25% of the economy. It's 85 or 90% plus. So it is so very important for so many reasons that we do what we need to do now, but look into the future, see how we can value add our products so that we can get sustainability, not only for our farmers now, but for our children and grandchildren. My concern is, and it's been a real concern with specialty crops, we've lost so many producers in the last 20 years, probably about 80%. When you look at row crop producers, you see that trend, beginning, and if we're not careful, we're going to have the same result there, leading to so much consolidation in agriculture. So these are big issues. I appreciate you all and the great work that you do in getting the issues out, and it really is very, very helpful. So thank you very much. You got some easy questions for me?
Yeah.
Not like in the hall?
We do. There is a microphone.
Thank you. This is pretty nice.
Yeah. Well, let me, since you brought it up, let me ask you about Farm Bill. I would call it Farm Bill Part 2, because you've passed a Farm Bill last year. You did the really heavy lifting with the funding. But what is your what kind of timetable are you looking for? Are you going to wait until the House acts to see what happens there?
No, we are working with Senator Klobuchar, working with the members on the committee, working with the leadership in the Senate, and then also, very importantly, going ahead and almost pre-conferencing with GT, Congressman Thompson, who I served with in the House for many years. He's a dear friend, and so we're just trying to figure out where the hang-ups are going to be as we go forward. When you look at the Farm Bill, it really is amazing. You say Farm Bill, and really it's, so much of it's nutrition, but it's so broad. And especially now with so many people having such a difficult time, that you've got lots of ideas, you've got lots of farm groups, lots of outside groups with ideas and things. So we're trying to mesh that together. But to answer your question, we want to get it done as soon as possible. Weeks, not months and months.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about detail. I know you're in the process. You said you're in the process of working with the other side in the other chamber on this. Couple of issues that have come up. Obviously, have a lot of resistance from Democrats. The Proposition 12, the FIFRA preemption, the pesticide labeling issue. Will those be in the Senate bill?
I don't know. As you say, there is opposition in the Senate to that, and in the Senate we need 60 votes. We need both sides to work together. So, my message has been, find me some others on the other side, that we can work with. And so far that's been difficult to do. So we'll just have to wait and see. What we're not going to do, first of all, I'm very supportive of those issues. On the other hand, and we're going to work towards getting it done like Congressman Thompson did. On the other hand, we can't be in a position that we hold up the farm bill because we simply cannot get the votes to get that done. So we're going to work hard to try and accomplish it, but we're going to get a farm bill passed.
Yeah, your focus is on getting the 60 votes, doing what it takes.
My focus is for farmers to quit coming in and have to say, Senator, when are we going to get a farm bill done?
Well, Senator Klobuchar, I would assume the provision she's co-sponsoring with Senator Thune probably have a good chance of making it into the bill. But she also mentioned credit, and on the fertilizer transparency issue bill that they introduced last week. But another issue she mentioned was delaying the state cost share on SNAP. Where are you on that? Can you is that something you could live with?
No. So we discussed that as we did reconciliation. Right now it's where's my staff? What is it? $54? 58. Okay. When you look at the error rate, they don't even count it as an error if it's less than $58. The average recipient gets about how much? Around 200 a month. So you're eliminating 25% of the. You don't even count as an error if you're off 25%. So lots of states are doing a good job of that. We're committed to helping the states that aren't, but that needs to be cleaned up. We saw what happened in Minnesota when you play fast and loose with this stuff. There's no reason that a state can't fall within that group. The problem is that it costs like $17, $18 billion to do that, and I don't know where they can find that kind of money, for a delay of 2 years. Plus, it's not necessary. It's something that states can work hard and fall in line.
Okay. Now another issue.
The bill that you're referring to was with Senator Klobuchar and Senator Hoeven. Had to do with getting the credit rates up to par now. In the sense that you go get a loan, your loan limit is so much less. That was done in 2018. The 2018 Farm Bill was based on 2012 data. The world is totally different now than it was in 2012. So we got to get things like that adjusted. It doesn't cost a lot of money. It's something, though, that those are things that really would help the farmer a lot as they plan and go forward.
Got to ask you about another issue that I hear about every day, literally every day, and that's year-round E15. Now,
welcome to the club.
Yeah, well, you've indicated that it's something that it's got to be a win for everybody, and you're concerned, obviously, about workers in Arkansas as well as farmers. Are we going to see a resolution on that? And number one, and number two, could that ride in the Farm Bill? It's Environment and Public Works Committee jurisdiction, but what are the prospects for that getting in a Farm Bill?
Yeah, it's important. For so long, Big Oil was neutral on this, and then I think last October they came out and said, all of a sudden, we're against year-round E15. We've had it in place now for the last several years. It was waived. And then they said, we're against it. And then they came out, not too long ago, a few months ago, and said, we're for it, but you've got to get rid of these small refineries. And I happen to have one in my state. It's the only refinery in my state that produces gasoline and jet fuel, things like that. It literally serves the entire southern part of our state, including the jet fuel for our airport in Little Rock. So it's a big deal. You get rid of it, you're losing some jobs, but you're literally losing the entire supply chain for South Arkansas, and our prices would go up. So I don't know what the deal is with the big refineries, and the little refineries, but that's not a good thing. It's not only my state. There's several states involved. Tennessee's involved, Wyoming's involved, Oklahoma. The list goes on and on. So there's, it's something that big oil cooked up. So we're very much in favor of getting E15 done. I'm very much in favor of the Fisher bill, that does that. But I'm not in favor of somehow the big oil refineries, forcing consolidation with the smaller one, especially during this time, So, but I think we can get that worked out. I really do. And the president, came out strongly. We'd asked him to come out in support of E15. He did, with the caveat, let's get E15 done, but let's take care. Let's get this small and medium refinery thing worked out.
Can it get in the Farm Bill?
Well, that's also a good question. I'm also on the Environment and Public Works Committee. Shelley Moore Capito does a tremendous job. What we need to do is get them to sign off on it. Mm-hmm. So we're talking to them, and certainly if it's humanly possible, so that we won't hear that question every day. Plus, what it would do for the farm community. If we can get that signed off, we would be glad to stick it in there, for sure. I think, though, that when we reach a deal, I know this is right at the top of Senator Thune's priorities. Senator Thune is leader of the Senate. He's also one of our most active members on the Ag Committee and is very, very concerned about all of the topics that we're talking about today, which is a great help for us. He understands. He wants to get these things done, and is counting on us to push it forward.
Okay. I'm going to have to wrap up here, but I've got to ask you about the additional bridge assistance, the $15 billion. You indicated you'd like to see it in the Iran supplemental. But
I'd like to see it yesterday.
Yeah, but is there going to be Democratic support for that supplemental?
Well, in order to get it done, there will be, and I think they need to get it done.
Can you do it through reconciliation? Because Chairman Thompson today said he thought he could find offsets for it and therefore do it in reconciliation. Is that realistic in this sense?
To be honest, I don't know. There's talk of that. I don't know about timetables or whatever, but I would say that especially with the impact that Iran is having on the farmers, with things like fertilizer, and then too so much driving that we do in rural America. I think urban America just doesn't understand how much driving goes on in rural America with equipment, but also just, you need a part. You don't just run down to, a mile or two away. You might have to drive 40 or 50 miles to get the part and come back or whatever. So for all of those reasons, I think it's a natural fit. If it's not that, it'll be something else. But we desperately need to get this done. And as I said earlier, we're working with USDA. They're, great on leading on this stuff. And so I think the good news is, as we've gone to Congress before, made the case because of the great work, really, and I'm not just saying this, people like you, getting the word out as to what the facts are, what we're dealing with, this generational crisis, that helps, the farmers understand the reason for it. And then it helps members understand. And because of that, we built tremendous support. And Congress has been, to their credit, Congress on both sides. These things shouldn't be about Democrats and Republicans, and traditionally haven't been. To their credit, Congress on both sides has stepped up and been very, very supportive of the packages that we put together.